have to be on the field for last year.
Haven't heard from him in weeks. Do we have to be inside? Be on the field? He's unbelievable.
Great.
Although our staff loves it when he comes in, when he's a site rep. Oh, cause he's, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
after
Just
our admin meeting.
mixing it up.
Oh, yeah, our folks know what his favorite brand is, and so
Yeah.
he's up there having a couple after the disclaimer, of course.
Yes.
Oh, you know, my doctor said I shouldn't do this, but.
I think he's changed it to cut back now. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Yeah.
it began with,
He's got
I
the
shouldn't
meds
have
right.
any of this,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's got
Yeah.
the meds right.
He's got the levels. Classic.
I just love, like, go to dinner and all that kind of stuff. He's the last one out. Everybody's like, wait, where's Benson?
So we need to have somebody appointed to be responsible for him.
Yeah. Put a bell on him.
Yeah. Give him a thing of Tic Tacs for his, so we can hear him coming, or at least know where he is.
I think we should be vice chair next year. So 2 years would be a shit show.
Ty's like, oh, great, that's exactly what we're.
Great. I'll be retiring. Oh, man.
It would be fun for all of us to watch, though.
Yeah.
It would be. Might be poor leadership on my end. If we let that happen.
Everything he's gonna do is, I'm gonna turn it over to Ty.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, you know what? I don't know the answer to that.
yeah.
Everything.
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 Just deflect.
Classic.
You should be making our way down. We just finished up the
good
prayer
enough.
interviews.
Okay.
And we're the last thing before lunch, so
Yes.
you can make that quick if you want.
Yeah.
Although it's a minute,
Yeah,
a day early for lunch.
Never get in front of the media, between the media and food, yeah.
Never.
That's right.
As a ballot,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, did Idaho hire somebody?
Yeah.
yeah, wait a second, they did.
Yeah,
Was it?
They hired somebody from, yeah.
Organs, something.
Yeah.
I think it was a position.
He was
I don't think-
DC
Was he
2 years
DC?
ago.
Okay,
I don't know.
yeah.
That's good. I always think you guys generally do a good job of making sure, like, you've got a couple options
Mm-hmm.
that understand the place, because it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some
Matters.
places that are just really unique, and you almost,
Yeah.
yeah, you almost need
Yeah,
somebody
to have been
who's
there.
been there and
Yeah.
understands it. And,
That's what we do.
yeah, yeah.
I'm afraid my guy's just gonna walk in like Tuesday. It's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
how old's Rusty?
Just turned 15.
We should have some time.
Jimmy and John are coming. But
I didn't bust it on time.
Oh,
Keep
yeah.
saying,
I'm not.
by the way,
Yeah,
you're
that's
commissioner, just started Jimmy yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, nope, I'm not. Yeah.
He's like, I probably want nothing, he's like, I want nothing to do with it,
Jimmy and
right?
John.
Oh, the running joke is picking Patty
We're
at
not
the
talking.
airport.
Oh, okay.
So what, you're
Yes,
Ty's
we can also-
chauffeur now for the last time?
Oh, just let him out. Oh, here he is. Here he comes.
Oh, we were beating him up at dinner last
Down the
night.
road, yeah, that's all right.
Good, let him have it.
But I just wanted to, I'd rather be here for,
Well, I'd rather have you.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Because
Yeah, 'cause I know there's gonna be.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys, let's, get y'all situated.
Assume the position.
Positioned. Matt, you're in it close to me, and Mark's in the middle. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started a few minutes early here. Thanks for joining us. Hope everybody's interviews with our great student athletes went well here this morning. And once again, we'll do the same thing this afternoon with North Dakota State. But now joining us at the dais is the folks that have helped put everything together. First off, I'll introduce right next to me the FCS Committee Chair, Matt Larson. He's the Director of Athletics at North Dakota State. Vice Chair from Chattanooga, their Director of Athletics, Mark Wharton, and Ty Halpin from the NCAA office. So, Matt, I'm going to let you go ahead with opening comments, and then we'll open up for some questions.
Great, thank you. Good to see everybody. And first off, just congratulations to North Dakota State and Montana State on just unbelievable seasons. And I truly believe the two best teams are playing here in the national championship. So congratulations to both. Just a couple of comments, and then we'll open it up for questions. But first off, just thanks to the media. You guys do an unbelievable job of covering FCS football. And I know looking around the room, there's some folks in local media markets who do a great job of covering their teams, but there's a lot of national folks here. And we've seen the national media coverage really grow over probably the last 5 or 6 years, and so it's a credit to you all. So appreciate you being here, covering us in such a great way that you do. The other just real thank you quickly is to the committee, the rest of the committee members. Obviously Mark is the vice chair, but we have 8 other members who I think do an unbelievable job of. We watch a lot of games. We debate a lot of teams. It's a really good process, and they take a lot of time away from their own campuses throughout the season. But then once we get into the championships as well, they're traveling every weekend as site reps. So really appreciate the efforts that they all do in being a member of the committee. And then just a couple things quick about selection. Obviously, this year was very different with seeding 16, something that as a committee in the NCAA, we've worked on the last couple of years of trying to get that through. And I think this year it was definitely had more of that national tournament feel. Puts a lot greater weight on the regular season. That matters. Opportunities to be able to host those first round games is really important. And the one thing I would say is it was a little different in our process in the media in the selection room. And we're always trying to look at ways to improve that process, and really like the way it went this year. But we look at when you go into that last weekend, there's so many meaningful games still that are going to impact bracketing, seeding, who gets into the field, and ways that we can look at that day and really start evaluating teams earlier in the day. But again, really pleased with the process and the way it went down. And then in terms of the championship, I think we've seen some really good games. I truly believe as a committee the best 24 teams or the most deserving 24 teams made the bracket this year, and I think we saw a great championship throughout. And then finally, just really excited about the opportunity to play in primetime on Monday night. That was something new for this year. Over the last couple of years, we've, as a committee in the NCAA and our partner in ESPN, have talked a lot about trying to find a home for the FCS championship game where we're not going up against the NFL or other large sporting events. And so to be on Monday night in prime time on ESPN is something that I know the committee's really excited about, and I think it's going to put FCS football on a really good stage. And I shared with some media folks yesterday, and I think anecdotally you heard a lot from fan bases and media outlets this year and I think some of the I know Ty and Dave Lentz have some viewership numbers, but I think you saw those numbers go way up over the course of the last couple of years, and I think you heard from a lot of people of the purity of FCS football. One, the quality of games, the quality of talent, but you see players who are out there playing for their teammates, playing for their institution, playing for their state in a lot of cases, and I think that's what's special about FCS football. So to be able to highlight that on national TV on Monday is something we're really excited about. So again, appreciate you guys being here, and we'll open it up for questions, I guess.
Yeah, we'll open it up for questions now. Once again, if you could, when you get the microphone from Mike Kern, just name and affiliation, and we have about 13 minutes with our dais here for this morning. So we'll open it up. Stephen, go ahead.
Ty, I'm going to throw it right at you. Stephen Hawkins with the AP. Obviously, Frisco, 15 years now. And before that, a long run in Chattanooga. I know that there's reconstruction going here, and there's going to be Nashville. What's the future for this game, and as far as what happens after Nashville the next 2 years?
Yeah, great question. Certainly appreciate the interest. And first, I think it's really important to recognize and show how much we appreciate what Frisco does. If I took this over 3 years ago, had been to the event before, but not really deeply involved. You can just feel it in the stadium, in the hunt group, in the community, how important FCS football is and our championship game is here. It's a big responsibility for our committee to make sure that feeling is there every time we come back to Frisco, and that's really hard to do, I think. So hats off, Cowboys hats off, especially to the Frisco folks here. This is not something we went out trying to, think, hey, our contract's up with Frisco, let's look elsewhere. That's not it at all. If there was not the renovation here, which, by the way, I think is a major positive for the community, for FCS football long-term, for a lot of reasons. I mean, what's been built here, and obviously the change in Frisco has been immense and positive. To have the amenities you're going to have here is pretty special. So obviously, till shovels go in the ground and you start to see the cranes and everything else, that puts us in a spot where we need to make sure we protect the game, make sure the game, and we're not the only event here for sure, right? That we're not the main tenant. So a lot of things to think about, but we've got to be flexible. We've got to be relatively nimble. Frisco's been a major part of building this to the point where when the decision was made, hey, we need to look for a few other spots, there were a lot of interest from some pretty high-level venues, high-level cities, very well-organized folks. They could speak a little bit to the last couple of meetings we had with the other cities. We were very impressed and not surprised, right? It's a great brand of football. I lean in on that. FCS is an amazing brand of football and on the rise. But from a future perspective, when I took over the championship, we had no intention of looking other than talking to Frisco about another extension to the agreement. It has worked very well. It's been great community here. That hasn't changed. None of those things have changed. The only thing that changed is that we have about half capacity if we were going to stay here, and we just can't afford to tell both of our fan bases, whoever make it, we don't have tickets for you. That's really a challenge. So the teams, the kids the coaches that work so hard, the ADs that work so hard to get your team here, we want to make sure whatever that experience is that, gives you chills, memories for life, all those things. You'll see it. You'll see it on Monday night. We've got to replicate that in Nashville or wherever it is every year.
Thank you, Ty. We'll come over here to the left.
Ty Domizzo, WDAY in Fargo. The numbers you got for the semifinals, ratings-wise, is how indicative is that to say, okay, if we can carve out Saturday again on ABC, we want to do that? And have you heard from ESPN or ABC about a number you'd like for Monday night to say we can make this permanent going forward?
Yeah, good question. I think I'll take the Saturday window first. If you don't know, the way the contract works with ESPN and the NCAA is we can dictate kind of the day that we're going to play. Typically, this is very much a collaboration with them. So they had those windows on ABC and really felt strongly that FCS deserved that opportunity. We can get you the ratings. I don't have them in front of me, unfortunately, but they were very pleased. We're all very pleased with it. The Monday night concept, we had worked, again, Matt mentioned that, trying to find a window that worked for our championship to, maybe get away from the NFL, et cetera. That we're committed to that for at least the next year, and beyond. We'll see where that goes. We don't have a target number, but we anticipate a very good rating.
We'll keep it here on the left. Go ahead, second row.
Hey guys, Sam Herder with Hero Sports. During the vetting process, what made Nashville stick out compared to the other cities that submitted bids?
Go ahead, Matt. Yeah.
Well, I think like Ty said, the fact that there were several major cities that were interested, again, I think speaks to the brand. And I think one of the things that stood out, at least from my perspective with Nashville, is they've hosted bowl games in the past. And again, this is very akin to a bowl game and are used to managing two teams, putting on a really good experience. And then I think just a destination, when you think about fan bases traveling, I know I selfishly You want to have a place where it's not just the two teams that are participating fan base are coming. You're seeing other fans or other folks come in, and having a destination place provides that. And so Nashville put together a really good presentation. I think from a team perspective, from a fan perspective, and then also from a financial perspective.
We'll just keep it right here on the left-hand side. Go ahead.
Mike McFeely from the Forum. Ty, I've talked to a few people around Frisco that I've gotten to know over the years, and they seem nervous that the game might not come back here once it goes to Nashville for a couple of years. What would you say to them, and will it come back here again? I'll just ask you straight up.
Yeah, absolutely can come back here. I think it's premature to make any sort of commitments. Certainly things can change with construction timelines. If you've ever seen a project that, especially this size, that started, et cetera. But take a step all the way back from the mayor's office, from local community here. It's been nothing but supportive, and we don't take that lightly. Now, again, same thing. We have to go through a process to see how the stadium renovations are coming along here. We're very excited about it, but I can't commit to absolutely we're going to be back. But the only reason we're leaving is because they're going to build a better arena for everybody to be in. So that's not a bad thing. I understand the concern. I think we've had nothing but great experiences here, so I can't speak for what the committee would do in the future, but I helped lead that group, and we did not, like I said, we did not go into any of the bid process unless there was this renovation going to be happening.
Go ahead, Sam.
Has kind of organization process already started for Nashville, and then are there Nashville reps here just kind of take things in and kind of get things organized a year out?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So yes, the part of the bid process, whoever was gonna get the bid in the future, part of that planning was that they would be here for sure and see and understand the event a little bit better. They are here. There's quite a team from Nashville, from Vanderbilt as well, and we'd be happy to work with you to make them available for you.
Mark, putting the bracket together this year, was it easier or tougher with the increase in seeds?
I would say, as Matt said, we kind of changed the format on how we seed. We really focused on that 4-5 seed and that 8-9 seed, and even further down the 16-17 seed. And of course, about 1:30 in the morning, we still had to worry about the last four in and the first four out. And there's a lot of conversation, a lot of debate, and that's what's so great about this group that's in the room is. There's some aggressive conversation, but none of it was personal. But I felt like, we kept reiterating we need the 24 best teams in the field, and we feel confident we got those 24. But we'd like to start a little earlier, so 2 o'clock doesn't come so late, and then 7 o'clock in the morning to verify the field. But we had a great time, and I felt like, again, we got the 24 best teams.
We have time for two more. Go ahead.
Matt, I'll ask you this is maybe more as the North Dakota State AD than the committee chair, but Frisco and North Dakota State are tied closely together in history with the football program, and fans from all over talk more about going to Frisco specifically than going to the title game. But can you speak to that as to the importance of this location to NDSU football over the years?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've joked over, this is my 8th trip here in my 11 football seasons. And, I've joked when you have a fan base who has their favorite restaurant, bar, hotel at the site of the national championship, that means you've been here a few times. And so it's been really special. And what I've always appreciated about Team Frisco and the job they do here, because we've been here several times, is it's not just rinse and repeat for them. They want to make sure it's special each year, because every year there's new players or there's new fans that are coming here for the first time. And so I've always given them a ton of credit of making sure those first time attendees felt just as special as the first year they hosted it. And our fan base, I said this last year, I think at this press conference, is Frisco for the last number of years has become synonymous with the national championship. And again, it's a credit to a lot of hard work, folks here at the stadium, folks here in the city and the community that have embraced the championship. So they've done a great job, and they've done a great job on behalf of all the fan bases and the teams that have participated here.
Okay, Dom, go ahead and wrap us up.
This is for Ty and Matt. Ty, when the Ivy League came into the discussion about the automatic bid, tell me about that process and how long that's been in the work. And Matt, how does that change maybe the bracketing of that with another automatic bid and potential non-conference scheduling, specifically for North Dakota State?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that process is actually pretty straightforward in the NCAA, believe it or not. If they had the opportunity to take their automatic bid any of those years, obviously it took them a long process to get there. So worked with Robin and the Ivy League staff just to confirm a few things, but it's really more conference based how they got to that point, and there've been a few pretty clear articles on that. The good thing about FCS and the way our committee's structured is that they will now have a committee member on the committee due to that.
Yeah. Well, in one way, it makes our job easier. That's one less at-large team that we have to worry about trying to figure out. But
Maybe.
yeah, right. No, and I think this is if you're an FCS football fan, I think this is something that a lot of people have been looking forward to. I mean, you look at the last 10, 15 years, there's been some really, really talented teams in the Ivy League, and it was always, hey, what if they would be, how would they fall out in the hierarchy of FCS? So I think it's a really positive thing those are really good brands. They've been playing football for a really long time. So I think that's positive. From a non-conference schedule, we'll be interesting to see how they, because I know they start later, they play a less game, how that impacts not so much the AQ, because the AQ is the AQ, but now I would imagine that you'll have opportunities for at-large as well. And those are things that they'll probably have to evaluate if they have one less data point. And because, again, we spend a lot of time talking about non-conference schedule, quality wins, Division I wins, all of those things, especially when you're talking about at-large opportunities. So those are things that I'm sure the Ivy League will be having conversations about.
Great. Well, thank you so much to Matt, Mark, and Ty for joining us. The one thing we did say, we were going to be finished at 10:30 because nobody wants to keep the media away from the food. So lunch is going to be served between 10:30 and noon up in the Winners Club. At 12:20, we'll have North Dakota State head coach joining us. And then following that, we'll have players upstairs. This will be in the hub. In fact, it should be there in about 5 minutes if you need to go back for any reference points. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you at lunch here in a few minutes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.